What's up, guys, and welcome back to Project Time Garage. Remember the clicking sound that our the free Toyota pickup had in the front hub? Well, it's a CV axle. So I picked up this handy dandy unit here from the good old Rock Autos. Wish they would sponsor me. So in this episode, we're going to learn together how to put a CV axle in a Toyota pickup. Well, since this project's not going to do itself, I guess we better get started. Oh, and before we get started, right down here in this area, you're going to see that little icon with my logo. Click on that. That's a subscribe button. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Couldn't hurt nothing, right? In fact, your false teeth might fit better. So definitely subscribe. On with the show. Let's start with taking this wheel off here. Next, I'll go ahead and pull this hub off. It needs to be in the free position so it retracts everything so it doesn't pull it apart. Hub, which actually looks pretty good, honestly. Next, I'll go ahead and pull this outside, the outer hub section off of it. The lock washers will come off, but these other washers underneath here are taper fit, so you'll have to bang those with a hammer or something to loosen them up. Let me get me in, or something. Sometimes these washers can be really tough to get off. Right or wrong, what I have been able to do is put a punch back here and just give it a little bit of a tap. Then we can push it back on there and we can get our conical washers off there. So our taper fit washers off there. All right, those are off there. That's your outer hub off. Next thing we've got should be a snap ring here. All right, snap ring's out. At this point, the CV shaft should be free floating back there. So I'll reposition you and we'll get the sway bar end link off of it. We also want to get this brake hose here, kind of this keeper out of it, so we have a little bit of room to move around with the brake hose without damaging it. And we're also going to pull the top ball joint out. In fact, let's go ahead and jump on the ball joint. There we go. Now, really the only big thing that's holding us up is the sway bar. So let me whip you around there and we'll pop that loose. Probably goes without saying, but give it a good drink of PB Blaster before you start this process. It's a 14 millimeter. There we go. Don't forget your bushing and such. For a shock, it's a 22 millimeter. I don't have a 22. I don't have a 22 wrench to hold the back side, but I have a 22 socket for the front side. So in that case, a 7/8 will suffice. All right, so everything here should be pretty much loose. There we go. One thing I forgot to show on the back side of this, CV shaft, there is a flange. That flange has about 6 bolts going around the back side of it. I put a pair of vice grips on this thing so I could actually turn the shaft, you know, to get to each bolt. But once that's done, you should be able to grab this thing and just pull it out. Now, since mine is in pieces, it's going to come out the bottom, or it would have came out the top, but they usually come out the bottom. So there's that part. And then down here, the other piece just slides out the back like so. We're ready for the new shaft to go back in. Being really careful with that brake line. It's bending a lot more than I like. Of course, I guess it really doesn't matter. Truck needs brake lines anyway, probably. Should just be a matter now of putting everything back together and bolting it back in. Hard part's over. All right, we'll get all these bolts back here on this flange. All right, I've stuck a jack under here, and I'm going to use that jack to kind of help me control this as I start to go back in with this upper ball joint here. It's just a really funny angle that it's got to go back in there at. And yes, it's an excellent opportunity to pinch your fingers if that's what you're looking to do. There we go. Right through there. There's that. All right, let's see if we can get this sway bar happy. Uh-oh, drop some. I'll drop some. There we go. That's the sway bar hooked up. All right, back together with our hubs. And these little washers here that line everything up. Already got our snap ring back in there. We have regular locks that go on. And then finally our actual nuts. When you're putting these hubs back on there, you got to be careful. You see these teeth here? Well, in a couple of those, there's a little spur. See that spur that's sticking in there? One here and one on the absolute other side. Those spurs line up to these toothless sections here to go back in. Just remember that. All right, so we're free. And if we lock it, what happens then? Oh yeah, front end's locked in. Yay. Free it back. Let's put the wheel back on and go take a ride. Well, if we're going to test the four-wheel drive, we're going to test it on the steepest hill I have on the entire property. This thing is very nearly vertical. So let's see what happens here. Let's go for low. You can't tell that it's steep on camera, but man, this sucker is steep. I'll hold the camera. That's the camera straight up right there. It is steep, steep, steep. Obviously my four-wheel drive works. Heck yeah. Onto the main trail. It works. And this is the usual turnaround spot right here. Don't hit that tree. Guys, my truck has a dirty little secret. It smokes really, really bad. Engine replacement coming up on this channel. In fact, look at that. Yep, that's this truck. We're gonna fix that. Let's turn the air conditioning on. Nope, air conditioning didn't work. But the fan feels good. Very bumpy. Very bumpy indeed. Now to back up the super steep, we'll use 4 high. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends about us. and I'll see you next time.